Chapter 8. I start by apologizing, even though I still think the doctor overreacted. There's nothing to be gained by having a fight, and with the engine successfully refueled, tension has dropped noticeably. In fact, the doctor's demeanor flipped almost instantly when he learned our fuel situation was fixed. I'm kind of taken aback by it, actually. I don't feel like the situation has been fully resolved and would have liked some apology from his side as well. But I decide to drop it after waiting for an awkwardly long moment of silence. The doctor seems to have a different opinion on it. Instead, I decide to ask about his expedition. So, you said you would tell me more when we escaped Mars. Well, we have escaped, and I'm listening. He's pleased with the change of topic, and he immediately begins his explanation. The expedition we sent to the Echo Zone, that's what we call a 2 AU diameter sphere around the coordinates we're going to, cannot be communicated with directly. For one, they are half a light year away, but they also had to travel half that light year at 99.995% C. So from our reference point, it would take them 50 years to reach the zone. They only left 3 Earth years ago. Now, we started planning the mission 5 Earth years ago. We decided to send 2 ships, each carrying a small antimatter reactor with them. They can use that reactor to generate fuel for a return trip. But more importantly, that antimatter is used to power our communication channel. I've never heard of antimatter reactors facilitating instant communication. At best, they can provide near-lightspeed travel, so if you could send a message back from the Echo Zone, it would still take years to arrive on Earth. But the doctor smirks as I share my skepticism. We're not using it to bridge any distance, we're using it to power our beacon. He seems to enjoy this moment just a little too much. He stares into my eyes and observes my confusion. I reckon he hasn't been able to tell this to any outsiders before, so I give him some slack. Now go on, don't stop there. We planned our mission under the assumption that there are in fact tachyonium asteroids in the Echo Zone. We theorized that if there were, we could use one of those asteroids as a beacon to send a message back to our timeline. From Earth, we could observe the Echo Zone in our own time. The expedition travels 50 Earth years away from us, half a light year from their reference point of view. Now let's assume they find an observable asteroid. If they heat it to the right temperature, it will send observable signals back in time, which we can detect within our time frame. We mapped all celestial bodies within the Echo Zone beforehand, and the expedition knows they need to take several factors into account, like the distance needed for light to travel from the Echo Zone to Earth, and which timeline they should relay the message to. But in theory, we figured it should work. Well, did it? It did. The doctor lights up with pride. We agreed up front on a specific time frame they would send their message to. They were a couple of days off, but they did send a message, a short one, just some repetitive blinks. It takes a massive amount of energy to heat an object that size, so they were very limited in what they could send. Still, we observed an asteroid flickering half a light year from us, a message from the future. The doctor's almost shouting in excitement. I must admit, that's pretty impressive, Doc. So, what's your mission then? Like I said, tachyonium only allows for one-way communication. I am the other way. He states it like it's nothing, but having done more than a handful of time skips myself, I know it's not nothing. He continues, our expedition team doesn't know whether their message was received or not, and there's no way we can let them know from Earth because we'd have to wait 50 years to do so. If our trip had been prevented by the UN, the expedition would have died waiting, or they would have been forced to return back home another 50 years later from Earth's perspective. Part of the plan was that if we received their message, I would prepare another journey to the Echo Zone, ideally with a ship that's able to make the round trip in case anything goes wrong on their end with the antimatter supply, as a backup. Hang on, I interrupt. You're saying there's a chance their reactors could have failed? We don't know, but don't worry. Even if it did, there should be enough leftover fuel on both ships to allow this one to make the return trip. We're not talking taxis here. We're talking about two military-grade star cruisers. They need a lot more power, so there should be no problem for you to get back home. Okay, that news relaxes me a bit more. What about you? I suddenly wonder. Oh, I'm going to stay. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. Our ships maintain self-sufficient ecosystems. I can stay as long as I want. No, but what will you do there? I'll study tachyon. We only had one small sample on Earth, less than a kilogram. Imagine what's possible if we had access to a virtually unlimited amount. This is the first time I can see the doctor's passion so clearly displayed without any stress or fear about what's coming next. I now better understand why his demeanor shifted almost instantly when I told him the engine was fixed. Well, good for you, I tell him, and I mean that. Rarely have I seen someone talk with so much passion about anything. The doctor seems to have found his true meaning to life. Good for him.
So, why do you think the UN was trying to prevent us getting there? I ask. I'm not sure about what's driving them. We launched our expedition mostly in secret because the UN had already tried to stop our research multiple times.
Maybe they are scared of this technology falling into wrong hands. Maybe they want to hold fine-grained control over its development. We don't know. We sat down with UN representatives multiple times during our research, but they never shared anything from their point of view. We just know they didn't want us to continue our research, but they also couldn't directly prohibit us. So they tried to boycott us from different angles. They did succeed, partially. We were able to launch the expedition, but our research center and most of our funds were confiscated shortly thereafter. Because of that, I had to resort to more creative ways to get to my destination. And you hired a taxi, I chuckle. It worked out. We stare out of the cockpit window for a moment. I remember the eternal sunset and an infinite sea of fireflies, and a feeling of melancholy overwhelms me as I realize this is the moment. This is our true departure, not the escape from Earth or Mars. No, this is it. We should prepare to sleep, I say, and I'm surprised by how hoarse and tired my voice suddenly sounds as I break the silence. Sleeping sounds nice, to be honest. I begin to explain the process of deep sleep, but the doctor soon interrupts my rehearsed biology lesson. He already knows. Of course he does. I prepare him first. He doesn't enjoy inserting the probe into his arm, but he manages. Once the probe's in place, I make sure he's strapped in, and then I press his deep sleep button on the dashboard. Narcotics flow through the probe directly into his vein, and soon he's under. His vitals are good. I then insert my probe. It doesn't hurt as much as it used to do. I do a final check on the autopilot, our life support system, the ship's integrity, and our vitals. Everything is go. I look outside and visualize the fireflies as I press the button. It only takes a couple of seconds before my head starts spinning. It's a gentle, comfortable spin. The blue shifted space in front of me with its distant stars now curls and sways and shifts gradually to purple, and space seems to collapse over me like a wave. It's like a giant soft blanket covering me, cradling me, as I slip into the deepest sleep of all. Slowly, gently, the light dims as my vision starts to blur. Darkness creeps in from the sides. Then, there's nothing.